Hi dear students, a warm good morning to all of you. Let's continue with antibody. In the previous section, we had mentioned about the antibodies, and we see that at different stages of infection, different types of antibodies have been formed. Like we have N, D, G, E, and A. So you might have a curiosity, like how does this happen? And is it that each B cell is producing different type of MD, G, and E, A type of immunoglobulins? But the fact is that it is a single B cell which is undergoing a process called class switching because of the genetic arrangements which have been happening within itself. And the same B cell is producing different types of immunoglobulins based upon the time at which the infection is persisting. The first antibody which is being formed when an infection comes is M, followed by D, G, E, and A. And based upon this, there are different types of immunoglobulins. Now, isotypes are immunoglobulins with variations in the heavy chain constant regions associated with different classes and that are normally present in all individuals. So there are 5 isotypes corresponding to 5 antibody classes. So let's have a look at the picture of that. If you go to consider the isotypic differences between immunoglobulins, you can see at the heavy chain region, in the constant region, you can see now this is the variable region of a immunoglobulin chain. So in this heavy chain, the constant region of these immunoglobulins will keep on changing. Now, if it is a IgG immunoglobulin, it will have a gamma type of chain. And if it is A type, it would have a. Now, if you look into IgA, you can see that the heavy chain, especially the constant region of the heavy chain of IgA, is different from the IgG. So this type of variations, which has been found in the constant regions of the heavy chains, these variations are referred to as isotypic differences. That is the reason why we say that we have 5 different types of isotypes, because N, D, G, E, and A have different types of constant regions in the heavy chain. Now, the next one which we find is the allotypic differences. Now, if you go to look into the immunoglobulin classes, now IgG and 2 different types of IgGs, you can see that in the heavy chain itself, there would be certain differences between each other. That is mainly constituting to the allotypic differences. Now, just what is it? These allotypic variations, they are mainly considered to be as allelic forms of an immunoglobulin molecule. And such allelic forms might not be of the same immunoglobulin. Different allelic forms will be present. And these are genetically controlled and they are not present in all individuals. And usually these allotypic variations mainly arise by the genetic recombinations. The third type of variations that we have is the idiotype variations. The idiotypes are individual specific immunoglobulin molecules that differ in the hypervariable region of the FAB portion due to mutations that occur in the B cell development. And these variations of the immunoglobulin structure mainly reflects the diversity of the antibodies generated by the immune response. So just have a look on the idiotypic difference, that is in the variable region of the immunoglobulin. You can see this now in this picture, the dark red as well as the light pinkish color. These are the hypervariable regions of the heavy chain and the light chain response. Okay, so in this variable region, what happens? There would be different types of uh, variations would be present in this hypervariable regions. Let it be IgG itself against different antibodies, you will be finding that there would be variations. Such variations are referred to as the idiotypic differences. So I guess you got an idea about the different types of variations which have been possible within the antibodies. Now, another concept that we have to discuss is about the monoclonal antibodies and the polyclonal antibodies. Now, what do you mean by this? A monoclonal antibody is an antibody which would react with a specific epitope of a given antigen. Now, if you go to consider this antigen, you can see that on the surface of this antigen, there are different types of epitopes present. There are blue epitopes, pink epitopes, green epitopes, orange, violet, different types of epitopes are being present. So, when an antibody is produced against these epitopes of an antigen, different types of antibodies are being formed. That is, they are referred to as a polyclonal antibodies. When antibodies are produced against different epitopes of against an antigen, that is referred to as a polyclonal antibody. And if you are producing a antibody against a specific epitope of a particular antigen, that is referred to as a monoclonal antibody. I guess the picture itself is self-explanatory. That is, against one particular type of the epitope of the antigen, if you produce an antibody, that is referred to as a monoclonal antibody. Now, usually we mainly produce monoclonal antibodies for therapeutic as well as research purposes, and we in fact induce mice spleen cells to produce monoclonal antibodies. And the process of monoclonal antibody production has been found to be expensive, and it is a single antibody of antibody species is produced when monoclonal antibodies are considered, and they will bind only to a specific site, and they will recognize a particular protein form like phosphorylation or dimerase, and they are infinitely renewable. That's the case of monoclonal antibodies. But in the case of polyclonal antibodies, they are cheap to produce because we are not specifying against a particular antigen, and a mixed population of antibodies are being formed, and they can bind to different areas of the target molecule, and they are tolerant to small changes in the protein structure and all that. Now, usually we use monoclonal antibodies in therapy as well as in research. Now, how do you produce monoclonal antibodies? To produce monoclonal antibodies, first you take a mice, you immunize it with the particular antigen, and you will isolate its splenocytes. So, the splenocytes are in fact the antibody producing cells. After that, these splenocytes are being linked together with myeloma cells. Now, what are myeloma cells? These are cancerous cells, that is immortalized cells. They do not cause cancer as such, but they can multiply rapidly several times. So, these myeloma cells are immortalized, and once if you fuse them with the spleen cells, what will by a process called hybridoma technology, then the splenocytes also will get the character of unlimited growth. So the splenocytes which are producing the antibodies are fused together with the myeloma cells to form a hybridoma cell. And this fusion is mainly been happened in the presence of polyethylene glycol, and these hybridoma cells will multiply rapidly. And after that, we screen for which are the possible hybridoma cells, the myeloma as well as uh, spleen cells which are being linked together and which has both the properties of antigen specificity as well as myeloma nature. We will screen for that, and you will confirm them by the functional characterization will be done by either by techniques like ELISA and all that. And after that, we will scale up these clones, and a large amount of these clones are being used for the production of antibodies. There's another version which I can show you where the antigen is inoculated into the mice. You have a polyclonal antiserum normally, but when you take the spleen cells and take the splenocytes and link it with myeloma cells with poly-egg, you have fused polyethylene glycol. You get fused cells, and the hybridoma cells are being found to be, which are being specific to a particular antigen or an epitope is being taken, and those screened and selected cells are being grown in by cell culture. And so what happens? The best antibody producing cell clone is being expanded, and the antibody production, what is being carried out is being obtained from the culture supernatant, and as well as the antibody can also be produced in the mouse ascites fluid also. So this is a case of monoclonal antibody production. Hope so you are clear with the different types of antibodies, the polyclonal antibody, the monoclonal antibody, as well as the variations of the monoclone of the antibodies which we came across now. With this, I come to an end of the session. Thank you for now.